Hey guys, hope you're good. Happy whatever day it is you're listening to this, and welcome to the Strong Girl Goss podcast. Is this episode 15?
It is.
Great. So glad we're keeping consistent and also keeping track of what episode it is. We got a good one for you today. It's a Q&A. So you guys have sent us in some questions. We're going to answer them for you.
Yeah, but before we get going, wins
of the week. So my win of the week is actually a win that hasn't happened yet. So for context, we're filming this on the Thursday. I'm doing a high rocks on the Saturday. And I already know that it's a win that I'm even going to attempt to complete it without dying. So that, for me, is a pre-win, even though it hasn't happened yet. I'm manifesting that it's going to be a win.
Did you say that you haven't run the distance of the race yet?
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know high rocks is basically 8K of running with like stations in between. I'm laughing just saying it. So you got like lunges, rowing, farmer's carry, burpees, all this shit in between 8K. I've never ran 8K in my life, let alone with all the other stuff in between. So I will keep you updated, guys, on how that goes. I'm sure it'll be very fun.
I can't wait for a debrief next week. But no, you will smash it. You'll be fine. That's a good thing about keeping strong and going to the gym. Even if it does hurt, you'll get through it. It'll be fine.
I will get through it. It'll be fine.
But my win is, so last week, I don't know if I mentioned this in last week's podcast, I don't think I did, but I recognised that I was just training terribly. Like, my performance just was not giving. And it was really starting to irritate me. So my win this week is I've got up every day, this week, first thing in the morning, and gone to the gym before I've started my day. And I was just letting it take a bit of a back seat, really. I was getting up, getting straight into work mode, doing everything for everyone else, which is great. But then I was like, leaving me till last thing. And then leaving me till last thing, I just couldn't switch off from work. I wasn't fueled properly. And honestly, I may as well have not have been there, really. So my win is putting me first this week, getting my training done before actually jumping into work mode. Because as much as I love my job, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I do love that saying. I think it's so important to remember, like, you've got to fill your own cup first. So then actually work's gone a lot better this week. I've been a lot more efficient, a lot more productive. So just your reminder, if you do put yourself last sometimes, to put yourself first, because it will make a difference.
Yeah, I think sometimes having like a massive choice of when you can train, like, oh, I could train before work, could train at lunchtime, could train in the afternoon, after work, like a bit too much choice is just a bit too much, because then you end up leaving it until like the very last minute and then it's rushed. So yeah, I get that. Prioritize yourself.
Yeah, and like you say, the discipline's easy to slip away when you can actually be flexible with your timings. Like, no, I will be disciplined and I will get up early, even if I don't have to, because it's going to make me feel good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, remember to pause and take a second and think of your own win. It's the reason that we're doing this at the start of every episode is just so you guys as well can be reminded to reflect on your wins, because life's just too fast paced and we just keep going. Don't celebrate enough.
And it honestly takes us a while to think about the win. Sometimes I'm here like, hang on, what have I done that's good? But like, actually, it's so useful tapping into that and being like, do you know what? Yeah, I am proud of myself for that this week, rather than just going through the week mindlessly. It is a nice little reminder that you're doing well.
I can't wait for one day to put an episode together of all our behind the scenes clips of this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry for the day.
It's just going to be pauses of us going, wait. Anyway, right, going on to the podcast. So we've got 4 questions. We didn't want to focus on too many. We picked our favourites and kind of like thinking about what we answered on the last Q&A episode, giving you a bit of difference, I guess. The first question I got, it wasn't really a question, says thoughts on f45. Now, for context, yesterday I posted a reel on my feed about HIIT training. And HIIT training and how it's different to proper strength training for women. And for context, F45 is essentially HIIT training. I used to work there, and it's, I think, somewhat controversial in the fitness industry. Would you agree?
Yeah, see, I'm not an F45 girly and I've not had much experience with that. But they all blend into one for me. High rocks, CrossFit, F45. I know they're all slightly different, but it is all exercise performed at a high intensity, really.
Yeah. I think, look, you have to look at your goals. I think a lot of people, when I was in F45, people were coming through the doors and everyone thought that whatever goal they had, that form of exercise would sort it out. People just think that all exercise, like, you know, if you're doing high intensity exercise, strength training, like, it's all exercise and it's going to go towards the same goal. And that is true to an extent. However, what I would say is if you have a specific goal, so if you just want to get moving and you've only got an hour of your day to train, go to F45, have a great time if you really enjoy it. If you have more specific goals, like let's say growing your glutes, that's not going to happen in an F45 environment. I think it's brilliant for people just starting out in exercise. You can learn a lot in a short space of time, but I will say you plateau quite quickly. And when you start having specific goals that you want to achieve, so let's say you want to grow a bigger bum, it's really hard to achieve that in that fast-paced class environment because you're not focusing on what we describe as progressive overload. And have we done an episode on that yet?
Yes, we have.
We have. So go back and listen to that. So it's essentially making your training harder over time so that you keep progressing and you keep achieving your goals. It's quite hard to implement that in that sort of fast-paced HIIT class environment just because the rest times are often short and you're not constantly repeating the same exercises. F45 is designed to keep people interested and that's why people love it, which is great. Like I said, I used to work there. Like I think it's brilliant for some people. But when you do want to dial down on your goals and you do want to move past that kind of entry level fitness stage, then maybe it's time to think about something that's more specific, something that's programmed progressively, something that's tailored towards your goals. That's, I think, is the like crux of what I would say on F45. I think it gets a lot of shit, but genuinely it is good for a certain type of person, but you really have to think about whether your goals are going to be achieved in that room.
There are so many different styles of training, and I always say if like your purpose is just to move and to feel good, and you know, which I guess is all of our goals really, but if like you haven't got any other goals, so like take me for example, a goal for me at the moment is to improve my British weightlifting and Olympic weightlifting, so I wouldn't be any good in an F45 class because that is not going to suit my needs. That is not going to get me to the goals that I've got. But I think everything is good in like doses as well. Do you not think? Like I'm a big fan of mixing up training styles. So as much as I will do strength training, I'll also do some Olympic weightlifting. I will also once a week as well do some form of like CrossFit or conditioning because I just think even though it's not really serving my goals or a bigger purpose, it's keeping me fit, it's fun, it's a way for me to interact with others. So I do think it's just like getting really clear on, okay, what's my goal? I enjoy F45, but it's not actually getting me towards my goals. So can I just do 1 or 2 classes and can I then do a different style of training that's going to get me to them goals? So there's no, you don't have to pick one way. Like, you don't have to be in one lane. And I was honestly like, I thought I had to do that for so long, especially when I was doing CrossFit a lot. I thought like, okay, like if I'm in CrossFit, I can only do CrossFit and that is, I can't do anything else. And I think it's really important to know that you can actually do different things, and actually dipping your toe into different areas is only going to make you fitter, stronger, and keep you more motivated because you're like, okay, what am I doing today? And a bit of exercise is good alongside training, I think, as long as you're just not always exercising. And if you don't know the difference between exercise and training, we've definitely talked about that. Have we done an episode on that?
I think it was like maybe a question. We'll find it.
We'll do. I feel like we should do a whole episode on the difference between exercise and training. So definitely covered it in one episode, but yeah, we'll bring that.
Yeah, and like I think just kind of closing that F45 question, when I posted that reel about HIIT training, like someone replied being like, yeah, I've actually been thinking that I really want to start strength training rather than HIIT training, but I do want to keep in a like a HIIT class every week just for the endorphins. And like I think you're so right in that you can have different goals and you can be doing different types of training all at the same time, and it is good to try different things. It's good to mix it up. Like where we say don't mix it up, we're talking about don't mix it up in terms of like your strength training, your progressive overload and stuff like that. But like doing an F45 class or like a HIIT class once or twice a week because you love the way it makes you feel and you want to actually stay fitter and improve your cardio, that's only going to benefit you.
I'd encourage it.
I'd encourage it.
Question 2.
Question 2.
Okay, so this next question, looking to join the gym, but lacking confidence is the general gist of the question that I got. So this person really wants to join the gym, but they believe, because it usually is a limiting belief, that they don't have enough confidence to get there. I would say with this, to be honest, there's a couple bits of advice that I could give for this, is how can you make it more comfortable for yourself at the very beginning of your journey? Can you get yourself a workout friend, like a workout buddy? Can you go to a class where you are told exactly what to do and you are like shown the exercises and introduced to the environment? Can you hire a personal trainer who, again, is going to take you through the movement or just introduce you to the space, introduce you to the gym? How can you make it a more comfortable experience for yourself? Because what happens, and this happens so often, is people throw themselves in the deep end, which we love, but sometimes it can really have that opposite effect of going, I'm scarred for life and I don't want to go back. That's way out my depths and it's just not for me. When actually, if you kind of just, introduce yourself into it in a more comfortable way where you're okay, you know that you haven't got like a rocket full of confidence. How can I just make it a little bit more of an enjoyable, comfortable experience for myself? You are going to find yourself building confidence far quicker. So that would be my advice for that. Can I get a workout friend? Can I hire a personal trainer or a coach to guide me there? Can I book on a class or something to make it more comfortable? Can I look into the gyms that I've got available in my area and choose one that's a little bit quieter? Is the one that, I don't know, does something like women's only classes? Like really do your research as well. And with that as well, pick one of the quieter times to go. If you are going to just go to the gym by yourself and try out the kit and just give it a go, have a look. Like most gyms have apps now, don't they, where they tell you like what peak times are in the gym, which I think is really helpful. So usually first thing in the morning, last thing at night, after tea time, after kind of 9 till 5 is when you are expecting quite an influx of people in the gym. So do you have the opportunity to go outside of that? Do you have the opportunity to go like middle in the day or something, is what I would say. Can you pick a really quiet time just to get yourself familiar, like where you just know there isn't so many people in there?
Yeah. And I think it's like looking at what confidence means to you as well. Like you said, there's so many different things you can do, but maybe you only need to do one of them to help yourself feel more confident. Like I think it's really easy to look on social media. Like social media is just a bit of a reality these days. Like I definitely spend at the moment too much time scrolling. And like you just think that that's real life then. So you see all these gym influencers wearing these tiny bras, these tiny shorts in the gym, going for their big barbell lifts, and like that doesn't have to be how the gym looks like for you. Like you can choose to like bring a workout buddy, go to a class. It might be that you're not so confident wearing those kind of outfits, so you wear a tracksuit to the gym. That's fine. It might be that you don't feel confident using the rigs or setting up a barbell. Choose dumbbells. Like I would honestly just think about what confidence actually looks like for you. Is it body confidence? Is it confidence in your technique and your form? And then you can really start to go into specifics and choose one of the options that you, Jess, have just listed, and make that change.
The gym can definitely be a daunting place to be, even when you've been going for a while. Like I know I've said this in previous episodes, when I go to a new environment by myself, like a new training gym, maybe I'm traveling or something and I want to go and get a workout in, I do feel a little bit like, oh, this is a bit unfamiliar. Where's the barbells? Like, where's the kit? Like we all do feel underconfident and a little bit uncomfortable from time to time, but it's just about how can you limit that as much as possible. So for me, whenever I'm going to a new environment, I've got that program and I've got my program there. I know exactly what I'm doing. And as soon as I've kind of like been there a few minutes and I've kind of had a bit of I always do that. I don't know if you do it as well, but like I'll go and like warm up in a corner where I can see like majority of the space. And I'm like, right, okay, that's where that is. That's where that is. And I get myself familiar with that. And it's just about, okay, how can I make myself feel a bit more comfortable? But you are going to feel a bit underconfident when you first start out, 100%. It's just about, can you grind through it? Can you push through it? Can you push out your comfort zone? Because it does get easier.
Yeah, I think actually a program does really help. It's like always having that thing on your phone to refer back to, being like, this is what you're going to do next. I think a program is a massive part of that. But, you just touched on. It's like you're going to be in the gym and you're not wandering around, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? Like clients of mine, and I'm sure you're the same, have just said to me, like, since having a program, I feel way more confident because I know that what I'm doing is correct and it's written by a professional. I'm not just winging it on my own. So that is a big one as well for confidence. Question 3.
Question number 3. Take it away.
This one was an anonymous question. Any tips for dealing with the emotional side of having an injury, especially when physical exercise is the main thing that helps with mental well-being? Yeah, I mean, I get this a lot. Like, I can imagine how hard it is with exercise being the one thing that kind of like helps you mentally, not maybe being able to do that in your preferred form. First thing I would say is like, is it just, I mean, we obviously need more context, but like, is it just the one type of exercise? So let's say you love lifting weights. You can't lift weights at the moment because you've got bad hip. Like, can you do Pilates? Can you still go out for a long walk? Maybe you can't run, but yes, maybe you can do other things like strength training that's going to benefit your running. I think looking at exercise as a whole in a way that will help your mental health, and looking at how you can use this time where you maybe can't do your preferred form of exercise to do a different form of exercise that's going to keep you strong, that's going to keep you mentally on it whilst you're out from your preferred form. And if it genuinely is a case of just not being able to do any exercise and maybe all you can do is get out for walks, and like I can understand how that would be hard and frustrating, I guess dealing with the emotional side of it is just knowing that this isn't going to be it forever, but also like seeking help. Like, you probably have gone to a physio, you probably have, you know, suck out that help. Suck out that help, is that a word?
It is now.
It is now. You've probably seeked out the help anyway. You might have rehab exercises to do, so like really focusing your attention into that and moving your body in a way that you know is going to get you to better health to do the thing you love again. So knowing that it's not forever and doing the right things rather than slashing all your tires because one's got a puncture.
Yeah, I can speak from experience with this because this time last year I had a hip impingement and it was around 6 to 7 month injury. I did it whilst I was front squatting, and it was honestly just, it was kind of my own fault at the time, to be honest. I was overtraining. I was doing like going from a run to squatting, and obviously very hip dominant, both of those. So it was just overuse. But I can definitely relate to this. And from my own personal experience, what I did, I'm just going to talk through it in case it does help you. Yes, went straight to seek help. So through the doctors, actually paid for like my own physio and things, because if you've been through the doctors and you're in the UK, you know it takes a while. But if you haven't, it's so worthwhile. Just get on the books because it does take months, the process. And if you do need anything more serious, like, I don't know, again, to the extent of this injury, we haven't got enough context, but if you do need something like surgery or whatever, or constant physio, being on the books and just getting through the process is definitely worth it. But I also invested in, like, I'm paid out for physio as well. So things like sports massages, acupuncture, just going to a physio who gave me like exercises, and I would rinse and repeat those exercises. Yes, it was boring. Yes, I wanted to be with the barbell. And yes, like, it was so honestly horrible that I couldn't even squat body weight when I just wanted to be back with the barbell. But you have to think about the longer term and look at the future. Like you're saying, you just finished on the point there of it's temporary. And it's really getting your head around that, like, it is temporary and it will get better over time. And it's just about allowing yourself to be sad for a short period. Because I remember at the very start, I was like, I hate the world. Why did I do this? Like, why has this happened to me? Like, you know, you get yourself in a bit of a rut with it. And I was definitely for a week or two feeling sorry for myself. And I think that's important. Like, allow yourself to feel sorry for yourself. It's annoying, especially when you've gone from training 4 to 5 times a week and you can't do anything with what you are used to. But that's important, and exactly what Ella's just been saying there. You might not be able to do your preferred style of training or what you are used to, but you can do something. And again, rinse and repeat in the physio was, for me, it was, I could actually do upper body because it was a lower body injury. So I did do a lot of, took the time to like work on my pull-ups and other goals that I had, and really, and did that style of training, and then a lot of walking and movement, and took the time to actually work on things like nutrition and habits, and just chill a little bit until, like, over time, it just gradually healed itself, and, you know, I got the help that I needed for it. So I think it's so frustrating. Get it from a mental health point, 100%, but just know that it is temporary. And the more that you sit and kind of sulk and like get yourself into this rut, it's not going to help you. It's just like, right, okay, let's come out from the clouds and like, let's put a plan of action together that's going to get me through the next however months. And that's the thing with injuries. Sometimes you can be healed in a few weeks, depending on what it is. Sometimes it can be months. I even still get needles on my hip now, and it's like over a year ago now. So it's just about, managing it. And again, it's going to depend on the extent of the injury, but it'll get better, be fine.
Yeah. And I think this actually links back to the other question about confidence. And like you said, like it was a hip injury, you focused on upper body. Like there are still going to be things, like I imagine, like if you're listening to this podcast, you probably strength train. There's going to be things that you can do, even if it's a back injury that pretty much, like affects a lot of your body. You can still jump on a machine and do like a machine supported chest press. Like there are going to be things in the gym that you can still do. So like seeking help, going to a personal trainer like that knows their shit, that will program you things that isn't going to affect the injury but is going to still keep you going and help your mental health, is only going to benefit you.
100%. Okay, question 4, final one. So my training partner has moved gyms, moved areas, and now I don't know what to do. So I think it's going to be a bit of a kick in the teeth, really, especially if you are used to training with someone. When I very first started my fitness journey and first started out at the gym and not training at home, I used to train with someone, and it's really nice to have that accountability and have that workout partner. But when they stopped going, I had 2 choices. I had a choice to stop going as well, or I had a choice to just kind of put on my big girl pants and carry on and see where that took me. Because I always think, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you can just leave as well if you're thinking, do you know what, like, this is for me after a few weeks of doing it solo. But you never know what's going to happen in that time as well. Maybe you meet, like, a new workout partner. Maybe you try a different class or something and meet some new, more training buddies or whatever. So my advice for this would be to not, unless it's somewhere that you can maybe follow them, I don't know how far they've moved or whatever, but can you try and be independent with the situation? Because again, it's really, really fun having a training partner. And actually thinking this last night, I was like, I would probably lift better and heavier and stop messing about if I just had a bit of accountability and actually train with someone sometimes. I get it. It can be really nice. It's a bit of a nicety, but don't let it impact your goals, and your commitment to the gym is what I would say.
Yeah. I think I see this quite a lot with women in particular as well. Like that trust in yourself. And like for me, it's where you said, I'm worried I'll stop going. Like you haven't stopped going. You've not come to us and said, I've stopped going to the gym because my training partner's moved. You're just worried that you will. So what that tells me is you don't have trust in yourself that this habit you formed is because you are committed and because you want to reach goals. You think that this habit has formed because of your training partner. You have to remember that it's not just your training partner that's been doing these sessions for you. Like you've been showing up also, and that habit is still there. It's just going to change and shift and adjust. Like if you don't find a new training partner and you can't follow your training partner to their gym or whatever they're doing, I think you need to just trust in yourself that no, like I go to the gym, whether it's with someone or not, I've been going for the last however long, I'm going to continue going. I think it's something that we see quite a lot, like after illness as well. Like I'll use my mum as an example. She's been ill this past week, and I know for a fact, because we've spoken about it, she's stressing because she's only just got into a good exercise routine that's healthy. And she's stressing that she's not going to go back. And I'm like, trust yourself. You've built up the habit. You know how good it makes you feel. Just because you've had some time off and you're giving yourself time to recover doesn't mean that you're going to stop going. I think that's genuinely something I hear quite a lot. Like, oh, I'm worried that I'm going to break the habit. And it's like, you create the habit. You're in control of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you do have the opportunity to maybe find a new training buddy, then sure, that's great. But I'm a big believer in being independent with that kind of thing, because you never know when people's circumstances are going to change, and you can't put your goals based on somebody else, because that's also unfair on them. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully that's been helpful. But if you do want us to expand on any of these questions that we have answered, guys, make sure that you just drop into our DMs, because we would definitely be willing to expand a little bit more if we haven't quite hit the nail on the head with answering them, but hopefully that we have. But anything else to wrap up? Is that it?
I just want to say I really enjoyed doing the Q&A episodes.
Yeah, they are really fun. So we will be doing them like every couple of weeks. So if you ever have any questions come to mind, make sure that you just drop them into a message, because we love answering them. And the more obviously we get, the more we get to do the Q&A episodes. But we've got some exciting things coming up. As always, we would really appreciate you subscribing, following on your preferred platforms, leaving us a review if you can, because it is helping. Like, I need to send you the stats after, actually, because our followers are going up and the stats are improving, which is just so nice to see. And it just goes to show that our consistency is paying off. But I love doing these episodes and we want to keep them going, obviously. So we can only do that with your guys' support. And we were going to leave our free Facebook group in the description box as well, because we've got some exciting things coming up. We've got some big plans for 2025. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. That's all we're going to say.
Right. See you later, guys.
See ya.